I'm Nick Santorinis. I brought the Napoleons and the Cavalry. It started out as two separate projects, a small desktop type speaker, little two-way with ND65 and an ND16. I called them the Napoleons because it was a little speaker with attitude. It had issues. Anyway, my intention was always to add a bass module to it, just to fill it out so it was full range. Those sat for probably 5 years. I finally got around to making the bass part of it, so it called in the Cavalry. It's kind of an obvious thing, I guess. I made it somewhat resembling the Eiffel Tower shape, just because going with the French thing, right? The whole theme, we're going to run with it. It uses a pair of DC 160s in an isobaric situation, and it's flat down to about 30 hertz, so they're full range. It's, like I said, it's three-way design now. They can run separate. Napoleons still work on their own. They're crossed about 3,200 hertz because the ND16 is actually riding in a waveguide that's built into the grill. That allowed control of the dispersion for an even response, and it also allowed me to cross it much lower to the little ND65, and it's got a very flat polar response. It's very even. And it's actually even vertically and plus and minus vertical. And it turned out pretty good. I entered the Dayton category, bucking the trend of under 300. You know, if you don't have more than $300 worth of drivers, you don't enter the Dayton category because you got a better chance of winning in the under. Nah, I went with it, man. If it's a knife and a gunfight, I'm good with it. It's cool. It's about $185 total in drivers. So that's my project.
Hi, my name's Steve Grouse. I'm in from St. Louis. Brought two projects. I'm going to talk about the first one, Pipe Dreams. It kind of happened by an accident and came across some odd pieces of pipe. They're waterline supply pipe, heavy duty plastic, unbelievably dense, no resonance, just heavy plastic. Make great enclosures, and the classic 10-inch Dayton drops right in the hole. So that was the basis of my woofer section. 4-inch pipes used for the coaxial driver, which is up high and aims at you. The woofer aims straight up. Kind of a Linkwitz ripoff, but it works. It's cute, it's cheap, and it's versatile because I can actually use them as a desk speaker where the woofer's below and the mid-range tweeter, which is up higher at your desk level, can be aimed by just rotating and spinning it around on the pipe, so you can kind of direct it whichever way you want. The enclosure material, I think, is what makes the bass section. I think I'm a true believer in rigid, heavy enclosures, and this was a real cheap way of doing it because it didn't cost me a thing. The crossover for the coaxial tweeter is a 4th order because it's such a small tweeter. It's kind of room filling, but it is a little unique in that you can pivot the driver, because I didn't glue it on at the top, so you can spin it around for different occasions.
Bill Schwefel, and I brought the Zonkers speakers. They're SP38, and these speakers are a simple two-way. I'm using the Dayton RST28 fabric dome version, and then I'm also using the Dayton SD215 subwoofers. So and the subwoofers are isobaric. I have two of them in there, and the tuning on that cabinet is about 32 hertz. And the crossover, which this will be kind of surprising, they're crossed over at 900 hertz, eighth order, and which is a fairly low crossover for a 1-inch dome tweeter, 900 hertz. But that's equivalent to about a 1400 hertz crossover, 4th order. So I went with a low crossover because the 8-inch woofer that I'm using is actually a subwoofer, and the first breakup mode is right about 1.1 kilohertz. So I wanted to suppress that quite a bit by using a very low crossover frequency. So
Hello, my name is Julian Franke, and my project this year is the Transcend Mark II, simply the T2. This speaker, like several I've done in the past, was constructed out of Baltic birch plywood and cut with a CNC router. What's different about this one versus the T Alpha ones, which this design is based off of, the T Alpha one was a bookshelf speaker that was separate from the base. With this one, what I wanted to do is make an all-in-one. I wanted the cabinet and the stand and the base all as one, and have the binding post at the bottom of the base. So it kind of cleaned up the design, and unlike the T Alpha ones, I wanted to kind of give it a flair, give it something a little different. And in the past, of course, I'm really into the wood tones, matching them, having contrasting wood tones or complementary wood tones. In this particular project, I kind of combined the two. So I have both complementary and contrasting wood tones. So the cabinet, again, is made out of Baltic birch plywood, and then I use a veneer, both a walnut and a cherry veneer. This, of course, is in the Dayton audio category, and the drivers I used in this is the RST 28F, 1 1/8 inch fabric dome tweeter, very, very good, and it complements the mid-range, which is the R52 FN, which is a 2-inch fabric dome. And then for the first time, I've never used the Epics, and I've always wanted to use it, so I decided to try the 5.5 inch, I guess that's the E150 HE, 5.5 inch carbon fiber cone subwoofer, but in this application I use it strictly as a woofer, and I think the three drivers work very well together. As far as a crossover, the high pass filter is a second order. The band pass and low pass filter are first order. And the crossover points, I believe, are 727 hertz. The base port, which is rear firing, is tuned to 35 hertz. So in the end, I was very happy. It's wife approved, which is everything. So that's about all I have.
Hi, Steve Grouse from St. Louis. Today I brought a project I call the Salvage because I basically pulled these boxes out of a dumpster. Kind of a flashback to the classic 12-inch three-way. These boxes were horrendous. The back panel was 1/4-inch masonite, sounded like a drum. Pulled all the drivers, braced the heck out of the cabinet, added a back, doubled the weight of the cabinet, used the Dayton Audio series. I got a Silky on the top, a Reference 5 in the middle, and a Classic 12 down low. Using Dayton Audio 2.5 crossover because 3 got me a little bit of distortion in that interface between the mid-range and the tweeter due to the spacing, which I wasn't going to change. They sound great. I love the bigger drivers. 12s are hard to beat. 15s are even better. And I think that the comeback of the classic 12 and 15 inches is going to be more pronounced as more companies get on board with that. I think it's probably an easier box to build too, versus some of the long, tall towers that are common now with all the compartments and whatnot. I did compartmentalize the mid-range with a plastic 1-gallon paint can. They work great. They don't resonate very much. And I used carpet padding glued to the inside to dampen the enclosure. Nice project. I'll probably wind up giving it away. It's one of my buddy's kids, and I'm sure they'll be happy with it because it plays pretty well. I'm happy with the way it came out, especially for the minimum amount of money I had to put into it. Thanks.
Hi, Michael Hajinian. I brought two projects this year, and the project that I'd like to talk about now is Bellasonus number 5. So this one is a 3-way speaker. It's got two woofers, a mid, and a tweeter, all of which are Dayton Audio reference series. And I worked a lot on this to get the sound just right and get the crossover just right. So I'm very, very pleased. It's a much simpler one than my previous project, Bellasonus 3, but it doesn't mean that the performance is degraded by very much. It's amazingly close to another speaker that's got far more cost in it. And that's really what it was for me on this. How can you get the biggest sound for the buck, right? Anybody can spend lots of money on super duper drivers, and the whole thing here is, can you do this with readily available hobbyist kind of components and make it sound good? And I think I've achieved that. So I have a look and I have a sound that's I'm very happy with. So I'd also like to talk a little bit about my driver selection. So in the Bellasonus 3, I tried 2 different tweeters, and the second tweeter I have is an Audex. It's just excellent. The mid, I went through 3 different mids, and I have a ScanSpeak, another expensive mid, and it is fantastic. For the woofers, I've got the $89 Dayton Audio RS-225. It's a wonderful woofer, and I had woofers that cost 4 times that, and they sound just the same. So I am delighted with the performance of that woofer, and I used it in my second project as well. So it's pretty good. And I had to chat with the staff here, and they know that that's a good woofer.